Hello, I'm Bryan O'Neal from Coherent, and in this video I'd like to give you an introductory demo of how to use Coherent for property and casualty rating. What Coherent does fundamentally is it takes an Excel workbook of any kind and converts it to code, and then exposes that code via API to any service that needs to consume it. So here on my screen we can see an Excel workbook called Cyber Rater, and this happens to be a specialty lines rater for a cyber insurance product. And it's the sort of thing that if you're like most insurance companies, you probably have a number of these lines of business written off the side of your desk and in Excel, and they're not connected to any of the rest of your tech stack. And so it's creating efficiency issues, rekeying issues, governance issues, downstream data issues, and whatnot. And we're going to solve all that here by turning this Excel workbook into an API here. And just let me show you how we do it. To get the Excel workbook itself ready to be uploaded, all we have to do is identify the cells in this model that are going to be inputs and outputs. All right, so this cell here that I have highlighted, for example, E5, is the input for the state. And I've gone up here to Excel's name manager function, and I've called it X input underscore something. In this case, X input underscore state. Cell beneath that is X input underscore gross revenue, liability limit, etc. And then for the outputs, we just use the syntax X output underscore whatever, reinsurance premium in this case. The outputs that we care about most for this particular model is this table of premiums broken down by coverage. And so I highlight the whole range and I call it X output underscore premium table. So at this point, the model is ready to be uploaded into Coherent, and I hit new service, drag and drop it on here. And what we see happening right now as this progress bar moves across the screen is Coherent is ripping all of the logic out of that Excel workbook, all of the formulas and tables and calculations, et cetera, and converting them to C++ code. This is our key innovation. It's our secret sauce, if you will, that makes all the other interesting things I can show you possible. All right, we see that this model has 37 inputs, it has 7 outputs, and it says I've probably saved about 4 engineer months of time by doing what I just did. I hit publish, and it will redirect me to an API tester screen where we can interact with the API, interact with the code, really. Here's the endpoint that we would call from the outside world. And you see it's called execute. So when we call this execute endpoint, we'll actually be running the Cyber Rater itself using all of these inputs in the bottom left that we tagged as X inputs earlier. And we're going to be passing these in as the body of the request to that API. Here's a view of the JSON request going into the API. When I hit submit, it pings the API itself and returns all of the values that we had tagged as X outputs earlier. So here's that premium table of premiums broken down by coverage. Here's all the other X outputs that I had tagged. And here's a JSON view of the response. All right. So this is at the heart of what Coherent does. We've taken this Excel model that used to be operating on its own on individual people's desktops, that was never connected, that was never governable, and we've now got an API that connects to maybe your policy admin system or your underwriting workbench or a broker portal or whatever system in your tech stack needs to actually talk to this Cyber Rater. So in the next video, I will do a discussion of how governance of this asset is achieved. And I look forward to seeing you in that one. Thank you very much.